Hello, everybody. I'm sure it doesn't seem like enough time's gone by since you heard from me last, but this is another installment of Gregory's Bedtime Stories. Peach and I just had our walk, and excuse me, I'm tired, and I probably will kind of go off the airwaves or whatever for a little while so that I can focus more on my health. And I thank all the people who sent me love and prayers. I really thank you. And I know that my last entry was not exactly the most happy, but I have a great story for you tonight. It's entitled The Day Gregory Burton Grabbed a Woman's Breasts in front of a large crowd and got applause for it. Okay, of my many maladies, and there are so many things wrong with me, and I can't blame them all on porphyria either. But I have extreme night blindness, and on stage, that's a big problem because if I'm looking into, let's say I'm looking into a bright light directly, and that goes off, I am blind. Totally, completely lost. I was doing The Secret Garden at Plaza Theater, and they had asked a young woman I've worked with before and since, coincidentally named Faith, and I was wrong to have faith in her, in this case at least, because she did not come to get me after the blackout. So here I stood on the rectangle where you can act in the corners facing the stands of a group of the audience, a portion. The front row would have their feet on the floor, and then you would go up steps to the right to go in sideways for about 10 to 12 rows, I don't know. But I had to make a split decision. I knew I was very close to them. The guide normally took me to my left, which seemed very long, and she would pull very hard on me, and I was just terrified that I was going to fall. And then I'd get pushed through the curtains, and light would come back to me, and welcome to the world. But on this night, I also knew that my office, Archibald's office, that's who I played, was Archibald Craven, the hunchback. That's right, of all things, I was a hunchback. And I knew my office was there, and in the back of my office was my little office store that escaped into the backstage area. Well, it was closer, and I thought I had a better chance of surviving going that way. I began by hunching down and kind of putting my hands, out before me like this, both hands, kind of feeling and thinking, okay, you've got to move at least 3 people's worth to the right to start heading to get around that staircase up the seats. But instead, I walked directly to one of the last women on the right of that row and put both hands directly on her breasts. I mean, I even had a moment where I was tuning in, trying to figure out, and then quickly realized he was familiar enough for me to know they were C's and absolutely exactly the same. Perfect. It was not a real young woman, and that gave me peace as I started to back away. And her response was, people asked me, what did she say? Well, what she said was, and then the house erupted with laughter. And I realized, you moron. Look. You're the only one blind. Everyone else in this theater plainly saw you walk up to that woman, hunched over as a hunchback on the front row, and put your left hand on her right and your right hand on her left perfectly. It could not have been done more purposely looking. But the audience could tell I was blind. Thank God. I injured myself getting into my office. It's a blur, really, except that I came to the back door, and I do remember eventually making eye contact with Jason Barris. There's something about him. I can read his thoughts, and it was a mixture of, I'm sorry you got left out there. Do you think we're going to get sued? Do you think she's alright? She better be if you want to be alright. We were genuinely afraid of a lawsuit. Really, I in particular was just terrified of a lawsuit. It looked so purposeful. And at Plaza Theater, they like you to greet the guests as they leave, the patrons. And I was watching everyone leave, but with the women, I was like, okay, no, not that one. Not that one. Finally, almost everyone was gone, and a hand landed on my shoulder, and I hear in my ear, see, I get whispered to a lot. I really do. I found your performance titillating. So I turned around and I said, I found it titifying. And she said, what's that? And her roommate summed it up quickly. I think he means a mixture of titillated and terrifying. Or titillating and terrifying. And that was for sure correct. That was a correct assessment. I didn't mind doing it. I mean, anything for the sake of a play. I've been undressed for plays before, and if it seemed like it was necessary, I said yes. And if I didn't think it was necessary, well, I'd be out there naked and, thinking that. But as she walked out the door, smiling and laughing, I remember Aaron Seiler and Jason Barris looking at me with this, like, OGB, only Greg Burton could get away with grabbing a woman's breast early in the first act. Oh my God. I hadn't thought about this in many years. I haven't thought about this in many years, but going on through that show and not knowing exactly which woman it was, I just ignored that section as best I could. And that's not even the worst of things that have happened to me. But I'm sorry, you can tell I'm sweating. That happens when I'm in pain. And even though I have my medications in me and I'm completely covered in prescription lidocaine, I put it in a spray bottle and just spray my whole body now to be able to go out and walk the dog, make these little stories and photographs and reels, and trying to play piano and writing new music without the energy to think about it first. I just play what's in my head and heart and go with it. Many of my last songs are that way. It's funny, when you get close to your potential impending mortality, what becomes special to you? And as you lose gifts, abilities, memory, being with people. Don't ever take for granted being able to see your friends in person and hug them. Do it now. Do it now while you can. This necklace was made by someone I love, Becky Winslow. She was selling it at Mayfest. It's rainbow before anybody knew what rainbow was. That's sweet. And I remember I wanted to buy it, and I don't remember if she gave it to me, probably. But I've kept it, oh my gosh, since 1980. It's a talisman for me. It brings me good luck and good feelings. It helps me think clearly, and I clearly need a little bit of a rest from trying to accomplish everything I can while I can. I just feel possessed to do that. And there are chances for me to get better, at least for a while, maybe a long while. It can happen. I have to have all the resources and take the time and, dot the I's, cross the T's, get in touch with the right people, be on hold for long times. Oh my gosh, are we all used to that or what? People, you have been with me, my group, for 3 years, I think. And I'm just so amazed with each and every one of you. You each bring something so special and unique to my table here. I will keep fighting for me because I like me and I like my life. And I will fight also for you because I want you to know that I'm a person who knows that these challenges are our lessons in life, and we pass them and we learn something. We become stronger. We can do more good in the world, when we're not fighting some other demon. Again, I want to leave you with happiness, and it's only been 13 minutes, so I could squeeze this in. Okay, I'm playing Lumiere in Beauty and the Beast, and Jonathan Kennedy is playing the Beast, and an actress that I just adore, Christine Atwell, is playing Beauty. And in the scene where he doesn't eat the soup correctly, and she shows him how, then stands up to ask him to dance, Cogsworth and I are the only other ones on stage. And that was Aaron Seiler, and she stood up and offered her hand, and he grasped it, and her petticoat dropped to the floor of the stage, which immediately caused that voluminous yellow famous gown to go whoomp. Tina Barris must have just, I don't know if she even saw that happen, but it would be every costumer's nightmare to see that yellow dress go beautifully made. Well, I had the presence of mind. We were supposed to exit, Cogsworth and I. So I walked over and I grabbed her petticoat and I held it up so light came through at my face. Blinded me, but I held up with light went to my face, and I turned. I said, Cogsworth, this must be the one. Only a true beauty can handle this with so much grace. And off we went, me with the petticoat. And I heard a smattering of applause, and I thought, oh, I wonder what Christine or John did. And I looked back, and it was some women standing up and applauding me. Isn't that funny? So affirming. I'll tell you, I love all people, but women treat me so well. So well. Out in public, everywhere. And I'm not dissing my male friends or men in any way. They've been very protective of me and kind and good hearted, but it just seems easy for me to interact with ladies, and I enjoy it just as I enjoy talking with my male friends. So it's bedtime, kids. Okay? Put on your sleepers, except Max. Max Cox insists on he can't stand anything with feet in them. He likes to head that off, the whole thing off. Okay, do you know what I mean? Anyway, I love you, Max. I love everybody. Excuse me. Terry and Gary, Randy, all my Barbie friends. I love you. I love you. And I want you to have happy thoughts, because I do. I intend to fight and fight and fight. I'm a spiritual warrior and nothing less.